Surprise, pumpkin. Okay, go. Yeah. Good. It's just a step and then an ease off and ride onwards bound. Not chasing, just permitting. Good. In this way, you are pretty constantly, at this point in time, cultivating steerability rather than riding around tight and going, please God, could it not duck out the gate? Leading rein, plucky, plucky. And there's plenty of time for this to take effect. Ah, good. So you won't probably know what this means, but adduction or abduction, I don't much care. As long as any front leg steps in the direction you point your hand. Yeah. And yeah. And then in and out and in and out. I call it veering, not for any special reason. It's just a word to give the idea that you don't just ride around clutching at the... Ooh,
good?
Nice, yes.
Okay, you
lovely.
want it closer.
Aha, good. He was thinking evil thoughts, huh? Okay, right rein leading and jiggling, something of the sort. And of course, it creates a temptation if he's going to feel naughty thoughts, think naughty thoughts. You turn him out over here where he wants to leave, and then you say, and remember our trick. Okay, out. And in. Yes. And out. And in. Good. And out all the way around. Out all the way around, turning around. You have to be off the rail, of course, to do that. You're not using leading rein. You're using down pull. Good. And veer in, veer out. Yeah, good. On the open side, turn all the way around using the leading rein. Yeah, better. Good. So that's the difference between this, look, and this. This, we feel we're being more powerful because we're exerting more energy, but actually it's a much weaker situation. The horse can just go straight through it. Over there we have at least some chance that they'll go, ew. And then we gain some mechanical advantage. So in the course of riding, whether it is to make them lighter, daintier, softer, rounder, or just to prevent them from being nasty to us like he was, we want to say the stuff that I do, especially obvious stuff, maybe not the most subtle stuff, but the obvious stuff, should gain for us mechanical advantage. So, did you take physics in school? Okay, you know what mechanical advantage is then. Okay. So, gaining mechanical advantage is one aspect. The other aspect is familiarity. You say, horsey, when I start to do this, and he goes, all right, I know it, I remember it, I got it. Even if he's thinking, shall I run out? Oh crap, here she goes with that again. So that's familiarity. Some people would say obedience, and yeah, that enters into it some. But mechanical advantage and familiarity, and that's why when I see a problem like you had there, I say, okay, we're going to practice this until the horse goes on automatic mode. When you make a leading rein, it goes, yeah, and then you make another leading rein, and it goes, ah. One of the things that happens there is you dislodge their stability. When you dislodge their stability, it gives you...
You gain better control of their balance.
That's called mechanical advantage. All right, so when we are talking about riding and horses and schooling and influences and all that stuff, it is best if we can use real terms from real life and but don't count on terms like more from behind, better balanced. Yeah, well, what does better balanced mean? Dislodgeable? Dislodgeable is a mechanical advantage. Just like a nail puller, a crowbar, to pull a nail out, gains mechanical advantage over grabbing it with your fingers and pulling straight up. Okay, so I didn't take physics, so this took me a very long time and a lot of effort to get those principles in my brain. And I didn't want to take physics, but now, of course, I wish I had, because when I go to a seminar for, let's say, vaulting judges, and they start talking about angular momentum, my brain goes into hide mode. Angular what? All right, go again. And you are going to say leading rein is for mechanical advantage, but the psychological part is that it is an escape route for you, horsey. I'm trying to be nice to you, you swine. Good. And make sure, to the best of your ability and feeling, that when you use a leading rein, it isn't just that he changes direction, but to make sure that any front leg goes in that direction. Yes. Good. Tempt him at the gate. Yes. Good. Over time, the best way for this to happen, the best version of this, will be when you use a leading rein to the right, it will cause his left foreleg to adduct. That means to step towards the midline. He tends, when you turn his head, to throw the opposite front leg wide the opposite direction. And that's how he can drag you out of the ring so easily. Yeah, good, good. So, every time you do a veer, be thinking about what the front feet are doing. Yes, good, good, good. Tempt him to the gate. Yeah.
Oh, he does throw it out.
Well done. Yeah, and if nobody teaches us
Yeah.
to look for that, it would never occur to us.
No, I see it. I saw it just there, that step.
I learned it actually from my other sports. Good, good. Yeah. Good. So, you say, I'm gaining mechanical advantage, which I bloody well want, but horsey, I'm also reassuring you that there is an escape route and it isn't run to the barn. We hope. All right, rest or canter, whichever you prefer next.
She gets no rest. She never gives me a break.
Leading rein, every other stride, a pluck release. In, out, just the same. Yeah? Good. Yeah. Good. Right. So we teach it as a lesson rather than reserve it for disaster moments. Yeah, this doesn't matter. It's fine. Good. Good. Yes, tempt him at the gate. And then be ready to do your best thing. Mechanical advantage and psychological effect. Yeah, good. All right, rest and pat him, free walk. Well done. It's a big mistake, I might call it, when the rider is told, here's what you do when the horse does blah blah, bad naughty. in his case, leave. Another one might be balk or something like that. For the instructor to say this is what you do when that happens is not good enough. It should be this is what you will do when that happens. So when it's not happening, let's train it in until it's an automatic reaction. So that when you do it, the horse goes, oh yeah. So it's not a thought out thing. It is an automatic reaction. All right, what else plagues you? We'll still use this as needed, huh? So what else pesters you?
Well, it all ties into that.
I bet.
Because it was he definitely came where he'd go here and he'd be like, so just getting.
You say he came with what's his background?
He had a few months of dressage training with
Willie.
Easy Bar, but he hadn't started doing lateral work at that moment. So.
Yeah, the European approach, I like Willie very much. He's the nicest guy. But the European approach often creates such things because it's all here.
Yeah.
So when I break babies, I teach this the first 2 or 3 days under saddle. And the other thing I teach them is giddy up, of course. And the other thing I teach them is raisability. And then I never have to pull backwards and downwards against the bars to get a halt or a lift or something like that. But I've had so many horses come from Europe. I bought some for clients, but those weren't a problem because I mostly bought them barely broke. But I've had students that have bought horses in Europe and they thought, wow, I'm getting the bestest thing. And some of them come with such baggage. Oh my God. Okay, that's good to know. I should have asked that at the beginning.
Yeah.
Next time, because I'm sure he'll try it again. So planning ahead, next time he decides to cart you off, try instead of doing this and leaning back, which isn't wrong, it just doesn't work too well, is try to give outwards karate chops, but separately.
Yeah.
Bam, 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 rather than hanging on, simply because it diverts them or dislodges them, which gives us, yes.
Yay!
Okay, so horses are dealt with, or we should deal with horses, and the analysis and evaluation of horses based on 3 main things: character, temperament, and personality. So what's character? Character, don't worry about it. Americans never know. Huh?
That's a hard thing to define.
Character
Like what's pornography?
for the pornography?
You know how people say you know it when you see it.
Oh, that was a Chief Justice.
Yeah.
All right, but to break it down most easily for our purposes for usability or usefulness, character is the basic goodwill. The horse isn't out to get you. Americans don't get this. Then the next thing they don't get, temperament. So character is qualitative. Temperament is quantitative. And that is how much self-motivation, how much enthusiasm, how much brightness. So you could say the horse has a fabulous character and terrible temperament. That means he's a lazy slug who wouldn't do anybody any harm. Or you might say he has a wonderful character and too much temperament. He's always going like this. Oh my God, oh heavens. Personality is everything else. I'm neurotic, I hate you, I have a background that upsets me, blah, blah, blah. So I just lump it all together. But Americans usually use the term temperament to mean character. And it's not. Character is goodwill or lack thereof, which is seldom. But let's say you make a mistake and you whack the horse when you shouldn't have done. A horse with a nice character will go, "What was that for?" And not such a nice character will go, "You're dead." And temperament is when you say, "Giddy up," and the horse goes, "You think?" Or, "How fast?" kind of thing. And then personality is the rest. So, pharaoh types, it's always good to know the bloodlines if you can. Most Americans don't have this luxury because the horses, at least years ago, you'd get a thoroughbred off the track. Nobody knew what the bloodline of that particular horse did in the world of dressage or eventing or jumping, because they were all race horses. In Europe, of course, you'll hear people say, "Oh, it's a pharaoh, so it's probably bullheaded." And you say, "Okay, that's the personality. Got it. Gives me more information about how to deal with it." First time I went, I think it was Nimmerdor that I saw a zillion years ago when I was buying horses in Holland. And I watched him in a 4-year-old jumping class. And he was just,
I said, that dates you.
Ah! Unfortunately, yes. And he was such a bully. He wouldn't turn sometimes. He would slam on the brakes and be pissy. And I said to my friend who was the director of the Dutch Warmblood Association, "He looks like a very difficult kind of person, horse, to cope with." And he said, "Oh no, he's easy. You just hit him between the ears with a 2x4 before you begin, then he's fine." Okay, so next trick. Pick something, whatever you want. Whatever plagues you, or if nothing plagues you, just pick something or start writing a test. It doesn't matter.
I want to work on his canter.
Okay?
And after we work on his canter, if we got time, I don't know if we will. Then get him. I
Lateral.
want to work on his canter. Let's work on his canter.
Okay.
Canter and lateral.
Oh,
Through the next
okay.
one after that, I think.
So,
Go ahead.
canter. Don't prepare. He should live in a state of readiness. Okay, start veering before he runs out the gate. Yeah, now out. All right, this also helps the mechanics of balance. The mechanical mode, yeah. Until he finally goes, "Holy cow, she does the darndest things with me. I'd better live ready for a left turn or a right turn, or. Rather than, I'm just going to set my head and roar." So, state of readiness is another catchphrase that's very, very, very important. Good. It's fine. Yeah. That was good the way you did that. You gave the rein and said, "Oh, for Pete's sake, canter on, you silly great thing." Rather than clutch it together and grab and all. Yeah, it's okay. Now, rest in a moment. Your choice. Good boy. Good. Good. Walk and pat him. So that was good riding. Learn something instead of thinking of it as a negative thing. When you were playing at veering to nimble him up and he broke into trot, quite often. Store that here, because sometimes the most important things we learn and know are things that happen as byproducts and mistakes from stuff we tried. So by operating with the veering stuff, it doesn't allow you to clutch and hold and say, God damn it, you will not break out of the canter. He maybe breaks out of the canter, you say, oh, go on. But one day, on him or another horse, you might say, I'd like you, horse, to come out of the canter just free moving in the trot. And the horse goes, no. Like when I was young, I rode mostly quarter horses and thoroughbreds. That's all we had. And they would, a lot of them be from the Hutter world, and they never did in those days do canter trot. They did canter walk. And that drove me nuts. I couldn't get canter trot out of them. And then I was playing around with something like this, and I thought, these horses that I'm playing at this with very quickly break into a free moving trot. It's a mistake for the job I'm trying to do, but it's a tool that I will plan to use on those wretched hunters that will not go canter trot. So I would just do that, just veer them off, and they go, eek, trotting now. So take the stuff that you might think is not so great, store it in memory. It may be a powerful and valuable tool for something somewhere along the line with some horse. I must say, some of the most valuable stuff I've learned over the years has been mistakes when I'm trying to do something else that I stored away in memory. So the canter looks fine. Is that okay? Did you have something else you wanted to do in the canter?
Yeah.
What?
I don't know if you want me to do for this lesson, but I want him to work on, so he canters, and I can get him kind of going along.
Yeah?
To keep the canter.
Yeah?
But when I start to shorten up his stride, he will stay active and kind of like going for a little bit, and then he gets really lazy.
Okay. Yes, I know what you mean. So when you try, we'll use this word, it's okay. When you try to increase collection, it gets quitty. Right?
Well, yes and no. It's not just like he wants to quit. He'll continue. He'll do what I'm asking him, but I can feel him getting very sluggish in the hind end. He'll keep doing what I'm asking as long as I'm asking.
Okay.
And so, I send him forward, I bring him back, I send him forward, but I can't get him to get snappier to my aids.
Okay, so first thing is to try to figure out, and sometimes we just make best guess to figure out whether he is clogged up, whether by his own personality or his reaction to your influence, that he's actually clogged up. That's a mechanical mode. Or whether he's being a lazy slob. So, if you can send him on at that moment and he says, sure, why not, then it's probably not slobness or slovenliness. It's probably that when you say, let's collect a little, that he goes, like that. So, what I would do, we'll call it, for the sake of convenience, we'll call it working on collection. Not real collected, that's not the point. Collection is a continuum, and it starts here and ends here, and you can be anywhere on it. At Grand Prix, you should be here. Training level, you should be about here. But it's all the same thing. It says, lively, but slower in miles per hour. Lively tempo, but slower in miles per hour. So, what you will do to ask him to collect in a nice way that doesn't clog things up and make gnarly knots in your feeling of him is raise him. So you said something very telling. You said, I send him on and bring him back. Never. Send him on, yes. Bring him back, never. Bring him up. Let him do the slowing and bounding and lifting. So I particularly hate the expression, well, I have lots I hate, but anyway, a down transition. That tends to make us pull everything down. It's called wolf theory. Never mind, it's called wolf theory. It has to do with brain function of us. So if you say, come back to me, that will very often make them go paralyzed. If you say, upsy-daisy, upper, 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 I don't care if you're on the bit, up, till the horse says, you know, I can't hardly canter very fast if you're going to make me this tall. But it's still giving, you know, up and give, well, here. So I teach that when I break babies. For the halt, I never pull back and I never drive on. I just raise them till they go too hard. I think I'll stop here. And I say, okay, that's what I wanted you to learn. A little bit later, maybe in a couple of days, if I raise you up and you go, horsey, the horse goes, okay, I got it, I stop now. I say, but I'm keeping my body dynamic going for the trot or the canter or whatever. That means the rising part, yes, the stopping part, not. You'll know depending on my body dynamic. Absolutely still makes it a walk or a halt. Keep moving means half halt. Well, upsy-daisy and keep moving. So, go play around with those little ideas. It's always hard to have new ideas introduced like that because we are all pretty poisoned by the standard dressage talk. Ride the horse on and bring him back and ride him on. Good. All right, so in the canter, put your pinky fingers together and ask him to come up, and he will reach what I call breaking point. That means instead of collecting, he'll just trot. Good, it's enough. Okay, so it doesn't occur to him to make an adjustment, so we have to teach him. Okay, give the outer rein, that's part of your canter cue, and say, so canter already. Yeah, good. Okay, and then, only for 2 or 3 steps. Raise, release, and then before he hits breaking point and breaks into the trot, you ease off. Yeah, okay, it'll happen. Because it doesn't occur to him to reorganize his balance.
So raise, release, but keep him cantering.
If you can, without too much force. Do you know what I mean by breaking point?
Yeah.
Okay. Because it's a function of the nature of horses. So, if we want more collection, you go upsy-daisy give, upsy-daisy give, upsy-daisy give. 2 or 3 strides is plenty. Now do it again, sweetheart, until it becomes old hat, ho-hum, humdrum. Ah, that's more lifted, eh?
Yeah.
It's better. Of course you can make it even more better, over time, but it gives you a different approach. Yeah, good. A different approach than hold them back. Also, what you just did was good. When he was going to break into the trot, what he lost that causes that to happen, he lost the rocking action. So you have to help him with the rocking action. Up and give, rather than hold and drive. And that's how you develop the collection. Yep. But it's only every other stride, not every. And that's the nature of the canter. We don't have time to discuss it, but it's the nature of the canter. Upsy-daisy and release, yeah. So, he has this snatch